My name is Calandra, and I'm going to do my project on fitting into whiteness standards in our society. The reason for the analysis: I'm going to analyze how Black people have to fit into a post-racial society through the character of Star and why being herself wasn't enough. I'm also analyzing how Star was forced to act white because certain things give off blackness. The film that I'm using is The Hate You Give. Code switching now occurs when a person alternates between two or more languages or language varieties in the context of a single conversation. The Hate You Give was directed by George Tillman and released October 19, 2018. The movie follows the main character of Star Carter, who is constantly code-switching between her predominantly white prep school and the Black neighborhood she lives in. When her childhood best friend Khalil is killed by a white police officer she is witness, her two worlds come crashing down and she has to make a tough decision about when standing up for what's right. Rule stars follow. When she's at Williamson, she becomes Star 2.0. She doesn't use slang. She states that if any word a rapper uses, she doesn't. When white people use slang, they're cool. When she uses, she's ghetto. When the white girl says, "What's up, boo?" she says, "Hey, how are you?" And when the white male say, "Yo, those kicks are lit," she says, "Thank you." Rules part 2 of what stars follow. She states that Star 2.0 is approachable, meaning no stank eyes or yelling or being confrontational. She doesn't give anyone a reason to call her ghetto. How Haley acts in The Hate You Give. Haley watches certain Black movies and tries to act like she thinks tough Black people act. She tries to act like a stereotypical Black girl. The way she dresses in Garden Heights versus Williamson. When Star is at Williams, she has to wear a uniform. When she's at the parties in her neighborhood, she can wear hoodies and jeans. How she acts with people of her own race. When Star goes to the party with her Black friend, they claim she is bougie like the white kids and says things like, "Do they do heavy drugs and listen to Taylor Swift?" In this particular scene, Haley and Star was offended that Haley tries to make it seem like a brush in Khalil's hand was a gun. So Star uses the example of what does a brush look like in her hand. In the scene, the protest scene, when Star classmates uses Khalil, his death as a reason to leave school early instead of looking at as a Black male was killed by the police. Conclusion: Star realized that she couldn't ignore her race because that's a part of who she is, and she began being herself and not caring about the opinions of others. Whiteness is passing through how Black people speak, wear their hair, or just have human emotions. Whiteness as a standard. The scene in Sorry to Bother You where he is told to use his white voice. Instead of just being educational and proper, he's told to use a Pacific voice. Passing as white for society advances. Freddie Washington was able to pass as white during the Jim Crow era to be able to slip into white on the ice cream polish to buy ice cream for Duke Ellington and his band. Jenny and Georgia scene. When Jenny was at a sophomore sleepover, it was two white hairstylists and they combed her friend's hair into a single ponytail because they couldn't comb Jenny's hair because of the different texture. Talking white. Oftentimes, if a Black person speaks properly or correct English, some people consider that talking white. When you speak using slang terminology, that's considered acting your race. Imitation of Life. The film shows how a light-skinned girl who didn't want people to know that she was Black, so she would pass as white, and hated her mother because her mother was Black. Passing as White Hollywood genre. Passing as White was a popular Hollywood genre in the 1940s and 50s, where several fair-skinned people would willingly pass as white for being accepted into a racist society to avoid the harsh realities of being Black. An example of this movie is the movie Showboat. Passing as white example, Alibi Springheim, an interracial woman, was so embarrassed of her Black heritage she didn't even tell her kids. When her daughter found out, she was so embarrassed. Questions. Thank you for viewing my presentation.